Beetlejuice is directed by Tim Burton and is a sequel that is 36 years in the making? I think a lot of people have been asking for this for a long time. It seemed like an impossibility after a while because that first movie came out so long ago, but has cemented itself as such an iconic piece of pop culture since, including some of its actors who have gone on to do some amazing stuff since, even becoming a Broadway musical. In this one, Lydia Deetz, played once again by Winona Ryder, is much older now. She has a daughter, Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega. After a family tragedy takes place when they're finally back at their house, eventually things unfold that lead to the return of Beetlejuice, played once again by Michael Keaton. There's a lot more going on that is not really revealed in the marketing and stuff, so I'm not really going to go into all of that. But essentially speaking, Beetlejuice is back. That's the basic premise. That's all the movie is leading off of. I actually did a double feature today. I haven't seen the first one in a long time, and so I rewatched the first one, and then I went to go see the second one, which was a really fun experience. I got to do the entire thing in one shot, which was really cool. And you get to sort of witness Tim Burton being all kinds of weird and zany and uncompromisingly bizarre, which is something that I really loved about the first Beetlejuice. In fact, a lot of Tim Burton's movies for a long time, that's one thing that I really appreciated, is that he would take a swing and that creativity would go in all sorts of directions, and it would not try to hold itself back in those moments. It would be that kind of weird experience that it was marketed to be, that it was expecting to be, and even past that point. But over the last many years now, a lot of Tim Burton movies and projects have not really landed for me. I haven't really liked a movie of his in at least a decade. This is very much a movie that feels like it's back in that same wheelhouse that he was so good at before. It's very weird and bizarre, and it captures some of that energy again, which is something that I really appreciated about Beetlejuice. It really does feel like old school Burton at times, even when it comes to the visuals and the use of, models and stop motion animation and trying to make it feel like it's something that he made when he was at his prime. And I think that makes the movie work quite a bit at times. There's a lot of wonderful sequences as you eventually go back to, the world beyond us and eventually see some of the new workings of it. Seeing some of the expansions to that is really cool. And also you get to interact with a lot of new characters in the process. And it's really nicely done. And it's great to see these characters that we've known in the previous movie come back, like Lydia and Delia Deetz, played by Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara once again. Both of them who are having a really great time, and they're both really good over here. And Jenna Ortega as Astrid is also really good. There's a dynamic that's between all three of them that's shifting, and there's stuff going on over there where they're trying to figure out each other, and the way that's handled is quite nice. The movie's also smart to run parallels between these characters, especially when it comes to the self-awareness of it. Lydia and Astrid are so similar in terms of their teenage selves that whenever Astrid says or does something that mirrors that from the first movie, Lydia's surprised by it. And that's something the other characters call out as saying that you were just like that, so now karma, right? There's also some fun stuff with some of the workers that Beetlejuice has, particularly one of his main workers, Bob. Love that character. There's some really fun stuff that they do with him, and it's really great. So I liked some of those little tidbits that made up the framework of the movie. But of course, the star of the show is Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, who, I gotta be honest with you, it doesn't really feel like he's missed a step. I maintain that there are some characters that only a certain actor can play in ever. And one of those is Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton is the only person who could do Beetlejuice as well as he does. And that comes through in spades in this movie. He's once again extremely over the top and, bonkers in every single way, and the comedic timing is perfect. Much like the first movie, there's a really fun score from Danny Elfman over the proceedings and some really great sequences that accompany that. So like I said, the visuals are really good, and again, it's just the fact that it embraces that weird sense of itself makes it work. Where it doesn't always work, however, is with its storytelling. because sometimes it can be a little stuffed. There's a lot happening in Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. And one of the things that I really liked about the original movie is that it didn't try to overcomplicate itself. It kept it very simple and to the point, and it didn't try to do more than it needed to. I think this one does. And there's too much happening at times with some of the other characters and side plots that don't really add up to much in the end. For example, one of the plots is involving Astrid. She's met someone. For example, there's a subplot involving a character which becomes something serious when it revolves around one of our main characters. That plot doesn't really go anywhere. I have to keep that detail vague because I don't want to give any spoilers, but there is something around that which doesn't really do much for the entire story. In fact, it kind of fizzles out pretty quickly. There's also a thing going on with Dolores, played by Monica Bellucci, who is Beetlejuice's ex-wife. She's out for revenge. And that subplot kind of feels shoehorned in after a while, even though it's the catalyst for a lot of things that have started off in this movie. So I'm not really sure how to feel about, some of those aspects of the movie. It does feel like it bogs it down quite considerably at times. And there's also things going on with some other side characters in the process, which I think could have been a little streamlined. There could have definitely been some work done there. But nonetheless, it does manage to keep that fun pace throughout, and it leads to a finale that I loved. I mean, for all its issues and all the things that I think are not great about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, what it eventually leads to is awesome. That I loved. So I wish it was a little bit more on that. Sometimes it does restrain itself because of all the subplots going on. I think it could have had a little more to that. But at the end of the day, did I enjoy Beetlejuice Beetlejuice? Mostly, yes, I did. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I definitely think it's one of Tim Burton's better movies in a long time. And I hope a lot of you guys get to check it out this weekend. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts as and when you do. I'm going to give Beetlejuice Beetlejuice a 7.5 out of 10. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. And as always, if you like this, please do subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the movies.